Excellent afternoon, viewer. It is the start of a new month and the opening of the third business quarter of the year. Happy new month to you all. You're welcome to yet another influential, opinionated lunchtime talk show, Real Talk with Kike, coming to you live from Silverbird Television. If you haven't seen my co-host today, you haven't seen anything more beautiful. They are ever exciting, filled with views that will shape your perspective. Of course, I have my house husband in the house. Let me start with, how you doing? Oh, is this your flower in your village?
Hi guys, my name is Marshall Anthony and you're welcome to the Real Talk with Kike show. This is the 1st of July. It's the first day in the second half of the year, in the third quarter. Welcome. Efo?
Hello, Marshall.
Welcome.
Hello, Kike.
Hi.
Hello, viewer. Happy New Month. It's good to have you join us today. I'm sure you're going to have fun with us with our Oyibo right in front of us.
All right, now. So today's 1st of July. Let's see something memorable. I hope so. That happened on this day in Nigerian history. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, Thursday, the 1st of July, 2009, President Umaru Yar'Adua extended amnesty offer to jailed rebel leader Henry Oka, detained on treason charges for over 18 months. Henry Oka, leader, the Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta, MEND, accused the South African government of maltreating him. South Africa's top court had reinstated a 24-year prison sentence for Oka, convicted of series of attacks in Warri and Abuja in 2010.
This day in history. Guys, can you just...
Sometimes it's really hard to just maintain a straight face and, come on the show and, just talk in spite of all that's happening behind the scenes. Guys, you guys need to be behind the scenes to have the real talk of this show behind the scenes.
So what is it with on this day in history, Marshall?
Well, we're not laughing because of on this day in history. Kike did something before we came on air, and that's all we're laughing. So let's not look stupid. On this day in history, Henry Oka, amnesty, Umar Musa Yar'Adua granted him the amnesty. He was arrested in Abuja. Yes, for me, what that brings to mind is the, would I say, that was the beginning of bombing. Just now you hear bomb blasts here and there. That of Henry Oka heralded the era of suicide bombing or bombing, even though his wasn't a suicide bombing. But, we weren't too familiar with those sort of events or incidents happening, bombings here and there. But after that one, we then started hearing bombings here and there. And then here came Boko Haram and their likes, and Nigeria was now known as a hub of suicide bombers and all. That, for me, that's what it brings to mind.
All right,
what it brings to mind for me is the late president,
Umaru Musa Yar'Adua.
Musa Yar'Adua. I mean, he was just an unassuming human being, a gentleman to the core. For him to have even granted Henry Oka amnesty at the time just brings out, the virtue in him, that he was a kind-hearted person. That's all I just see, basically.
All right, so going away from what both of you have said, I think my takeaway from on this day in history today is how he has accused federal government of maltreating him. And I want to try to tie it into Nnamdi Kanu. If due process does not take place and transparency does not take place, Nnamdi Kanu can come out tomorrow and also accuse the federal government of human rights and maltreating him as well. I think this is because it is most times I always say that it's like there's a repetition in history, and there's a pattern in which our leaders try to jump the due process of things. Do you understand? If you're accusing someone of certain things, you understand, you must make sure that you follow it to the letter, you dot the T's, you know, and cross, you know, it's so sad, you know, and that's what I'm taking away from there. But quickly, it's time for us to get a quick message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, today on the show, we are looking at a very crucial aspect of our business life, and that is logistics and supply chain as an operational tool for the 21st century, to be precise. You know, logistics companies in Nigeria are expected to cross $1.5 billion by 2023, and due to the growth in every country, there is always a high demand for supply chain management and logistics company in Nigeria. Many thanks that the logistics is all about transporting goods and services, whereas it entails more, which includes storage, warehouse, warehousing and materials handling, packaging, inventory, transport, information, and a whole lot, you know, that they are controlling under their umbrella. To discuss this business model, with me is the safety, or with us is the safety, and also the safety levels, and the liability that they found, and also the trend in deliveries and involvement of the government in logistics operation in Nigeria. We have Adewale Adetayo. He is the general manager of Sifax Logistics Limited. Let's take a quick look at his profile. All right, that profile was really, you know, very impressive, and I would say welcome again, Adewale Adetayo. It's indeed an honor to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Very well, Kike.
All right, many thanks for joining us again.
Yeah.
So just as I said earlier, that logistics entails storage, warehousing, and material handling, packaging, inventory, transport, information, and a whole lot of that. You know, give us a business overview of logistics over the last 10 years in Nigeria, and how its operation have helped the business front in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Kike, my
FO
and
Marshall.
And Marshall, and the viewer at home or in office or wherever you are watching us. Nigeria, with the potentials that we have in terms of logistics, unfortunately, we have this on paper, and we have this potential that we can be whatever we can be, but maybe government failure or maybe failure of everybody. We've not been able to position ourselves in this trying to achieve whatever that is the aim of what we can achieve. When you're looking at Nigeria, is supposed to be the gateway to the Africa. When we talk about food imports or whatever importation that is coming to Africa, or the entire throughput. But because of the infrastructure decade that we have, and initially we used to say we have infrastructure deficits, but what we have now is failure of infrastructure. We don't even have it at all. Imagine the corridor that leads to the port. With the potential that our port has, because most of what is being transported now all over the world, the international trade, 75% is still done on water. And if you are not taking advantage of this, so in the last 10 years that you have mentioned, how have we fared so far? Instead of things getting better, it's getting worse. Our population is increasing, the importation is increasing, but the infrastructure to make it work is not increasing. Instead, it's now a total failure. And that's the resultant effect is what you are seeing in Apapa, that the host community to the ports is now even suffering. The entire businesses, you know, business owners are leaving Apapa in their numbers every day. So we've not really been able to take advantage of what these potentials holds for us. But hopefully with the new whatever the government that is doing to make Apapa a free flow traffic, probably we're going to see an increase, because now we are trying to use technology to drive business in our ports. So that's this.
Okay, well, I'd like you to, you know, outline what you think is responsible for the lack of or absence of infrastructure, and also how you think that can be remedied. Also, let me leave this, let me streamline it to just these two, because I've got ample of questions for you. But yes, what do you think are those elements responsible?
Yeah, in my opening remark, I think I mentioned some of it. It's not just, don't let's just single out logistics as a problem. It's a problem in the country. We like to just deplete resources. Nigerians, we are not designed, I don't know whether by design or by our own making, that we don't want to, improve on anything that we have. How can we have people, about 240 million, estimated, going to need something that we are not even producing? It's coming from the port. It's coming all over the world. Then the port that is going to be the channel. Port is not supposed to be the final destination of this, but supposed to be a transit for all the goods. But now, when there is no access to the port, the entire corridor to go to the port are blocked. When they are blocked, you cannot move things, you cannot move cargo out of the port. Then what we are going to do
why can't the federal government decentralize this particular port? Because we've got the One port, we've got, down southeast and all. What's the challenge that's stopping the federal government or the authorities from, breaking that jinx that it has to be Lagos port? Why can't we diversify it?
There is nothing new we are going to discuss on this channel. Everything has been said. Let's leave this discussion of what causes the problem, how did we get to where we are. I think if we are students of history, we can say little things about the neglect that causes this. Nigerians, once we don't want to do any blueprints. We like 2 minutes Indomie approach in solving problems, and we don't want to take time. And once you are driven by survival, you are less creative, you are less innovative. So every day Nigerians is how I will live till tomorrow. So we are not looking at how we can expand whatever that God has given to us. Look at the port that I mentioned earlier. The entire access to the place. We are not even talking about whether it's adequate or inadequate again. We are talking about the total failure. It's total collapse. We have different methods of transportation, which is one aspect of logistics. Transporting your goods out of the ports, you can use multimodal system. It's only in this country that we are over-concentrating on road. We have inland waterways that we can use. We have rail that's supposed to connect the entire port to the community. But these ones have been neglected. I can't even advise anybody to go on the train that is just coming up now. But although the government is looking like they are working. Look at what happened in Kaduna to Abuja 3 or 4 days ago. I watched in the news that the train broke down. Imagine the same technology that happens that is in the plane. How can a plane just break down while flying? That means that preventive maintenance and all that is an holistic system. You can't just say let's solve one and leave the rest. You want to, it's crazy. How can you be transporting petroleum product from Lagos to Kano?
By road.
1,240 something kilometers in and out, about 2,400. The risk, whereas if you are using pipeline to do such transportation, the quality is guaranteed, the speed is guaranteed, the quantity is guaranteed. You will be devoid of drivers tampering with the quantity.
All right.
Okay, at this point, we're now talking about the government. We're aware that there are regulations. How have these regulations affected, in straight terms, has it affected the logistics business?
I think what we need is political will, to drive the entire process.
Okay.
We are just singling out logistics. Look at education. Is education not having a problem? Is our health care system not having a problem? Even Super Eagle, we're having problems. So a whole lot of issues that we need to sit down together. Over concentration of power at the center. Lagos knows what to do, but Lagos cannot control the ports because it belongs to the exclusive right of the federal government. So even if Lagos wants to do the road, the federal government will tell don't do the road. It belongs to us. Road. So until we align all of this, then we know that it's not for any selfish gain. It's for the good of the community. You understand? So until we get to that point, we'll continue to round the circle without movement.
All right, many thanks for that submission. I think this leads to the next question I want to ask, that looking at the impact of logistics to our society, not only businesses, I have seen that the safety management aspect has caused more harm than good. We see many haulage trucks, falling off on the road, leading to loss of lives, and of course, even delivery bikes, having accidents frequently. So my question is, when is the industry going to upscale the safety measures in Nigeria?
That's realistic. One, if you want to solve the problem, then people should have access to finance. You can't just ban a specific type of trucks that shouldn't come to the ports when you are not even doing anything to improve the lives of people. So look at our purchasing power is draining every now and then. You go to bank to access fund at high cost, So like the trucks that we use in Sifax now, landing cost of such truck is about 80 million naira to buy 1 unit of a truck. So because as at the last count, it's about 81,000 euro. By the time you convert with the exchange rate that is not friendly to us now, then the landing cost, the custom, and all that, it is difficult for majority of Nigeria. And we are even if you buy 10,000 more trucks today, it cannot even still satisfy the need, the demand of people. So what we can do, if government want to be involved in all of this, let us be sincere, make interest rates in the bank, make it be friendly, let people be able to access funds and buy trucks that can be, that is roadworthy. The trucks that you see in our road now, most of them, you see trucks that have been maybe abandoned in the US, in UK, or Europe, just bringing it down to Nigeria. Nigeria, we don't know regulatory authority, anything goes. You can see the way container is killing everybody. It's not supposed to be like that. Government's supposed to come up with a robust system to solve this problem. If not, we'll just be, repeating, reinforcing failure every now and then. So it's, a whole lot of problems.
Now, let's have an opportunity, having you here in the studio, to outline for us what it entails to have your goods from the port to the destination locally. Because some time ago, I came across an analysis of how expensive it is, or rather it's cheaper to bring your goods into the port than, from the port to your final destination. And then we also hear about all the stouts and unauthorized authorities or agencies that would always want you to clear your goods at certain points, pay certain levies, landing levies, and all of that. Outline for us what the procedure it takes from the port to the local destination.
Price is a function of demand and supply. Once the supply is short of demand, once demand is high, then there's possibility that the prices of things will go up. You have this in the port, you want to clear. The procedure is, after you might have bought whatever you need to buy, landed in the port, you need to do custom clearing. So by the time you do your custom clearing of this, however, if the concessionaire of the ports are doing what they ought to have done, we won't be having this issue, because they ought to have what we call bonded terminals. From the ports, from the mother port, which is supposed to be a transit port, they're supposed to transfer all these containers, leading containers, to their bonded terminals, so that people can now go to the bonded terminal. It will be outside of the port environment. So you don't need trucks coming into the port. If they have to go to those places, they can do their custom clearing from those places and go. But now that is not happening that way, everybody wants to head straight to the port. Empty container is not supposed to be going to the port. But what you see here is that we are turning Logistic on his edge. Empty container is supposed to go to empty container holding bay.
So that's what that's what's ideal. That's what currently obtains from clearing, and then what next?
Yeah, from clearing, your clearing agents might have cleared the goods, then look for a truck, obtain the authority to load. Then you give it to your trucker to come in and pick the good. But it's still happening that way. But just that the accessibility to the port becomes an issue. And once when a lot of people are rushing towards a particular resources, then there will be corruption. So by the time you start bribing, for access to the ports, then you have to transfer the cost to somebody. So eventually, then the cost of transportation will be increased. So there's no magic in this. It's just scientific.
All right, before I allow you go, please, it's important for us to go on a quick break and get a message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is on logistics operation in Nigeria as a modern tool for business efficiency, and we are with the logistic expert Adewale Adetayo. Again, many thanks for all you've shared thus far. But I think before we go further, it's important for me to quickly open our phone line. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 080-988-77400. It's showing on your screen right now, and also make comments on our social media. We are also live on our Facebook page, Real Talk with Kike. Yes, we're not live today on YouTube, but of course you can also join us on Silverbird Silverbird YouTube page as well. We're streaming live, and many thanks for always joining us. So, you know, I must say that, you know, some of your submission I'm proud of, but there are some that I wish that you can throw a bit more light on. So let me go to the government intervention, which is an area I want us to look at presently. For example, the Apapa port axis is filled with, or as in the trucks, gosh, you know, it's causing repeated gridlock in some areas of Lagos, which is the Apapa that I've mentioned earlier. So what is your industry doing in collaboration with the government on this constant, you know, gridlock happening in Apapa?
All right. Let's just thank God that the government, it appears they are waking up now, fixing the road, which is jamming. Now that we are not ready for us to connect the community through the inland waterways and the rail, you know, rail alone can even solve the problem.
Sure.
As we're talking now, we have 2 ports in Apapa. We have one in Apapa. We have one in Tinkan. The one in Tinkan is not even connected to the rail line, you know, the new standard gauge. I don't know when that can be done, but we've seen that the solution to this, once a rail can enter the ports and evacuate in their numbers out of the ports, one, there won't be congestions in the ports. And once there is no congestion in the ports, you can see Nigeria is the only place I see now that there's congestion even on the IC, because the vessels that are coming in to berth and go in 3 days, they can't even come. That's why the cost of even coming to Nigeria now is high. Then government needs to go and develop the other part. We have 6 ports in Nigeria. The one in Warri.
The one in Warri is just
Cargoes going to the east has no business coming to Lagos. However, the private individual that can do this cannot handle the issue of security. Government needs to just help us about the security on the high sea, you know, the issue of hijack and kidnapping, all these things. It's just an holistic thing that has to happen. A policy, you know, from government that will enhance business initiatives. We have a lot of people in Nigeria that want to invest in all this kind of business, but because all that infrastructure that can only be done by government are not there. So until that is done, look at coming to Apapa, when you were talking, sorry that I'm taking you back on the process of clearing your goods. You know, we have a lot of agencies. Nothing is synchronizing them. Customs cannot be controlled by any other agency. So you are going to deal with customs, you are going to deal with NAFDAC, you are going to deal with different kind of regulatory bodies. Even the customs that clears you from the port will stay on the road 50 meters away from the port and still stop you. How come that even inside customs, you are not confident about what was done in the port, and then you still want to do another check on the road? You know, how come that none of our ports is having a scanning machine? Scanning machine is, you know, it's not something that is too expensive. We even have them. In our ports is there. You see scanning machine. But how come we can't use them? I went to Ghana by road. If you get to Aflao border, you see scanning. You drive through scanning, and in a few minutes you are through. If you get to Adewale, when you are going to Cote d'Ivoire, you drive in through scanning. But scanning machines not working in Nigeria.
So how come we have those machines and they are not working?
How have been
That's
sent
what I'm
abroad
interested
for training of this scanning?
I'm interested in that because we have them, they do exist, we see them. How come they're not working?
I think that question is not for me.
Okay.
Because
You just might have an inkling.
Well, I saw that it's not working,
Yes.
and I know that it's not working.
Okay.
Why it's not working?
See something,
Yes.
say
I don't
something.
Why it's not
Adewale.
working? So I am a critical stakeholder in this business.
Yes.
So I will be mindful of the way I criticize my industry.
I understand.
So, but if these things are working, it's in government hands. How come that customs still do physical examination? You open a container, if it's 21 that is in the bill of lading, you also open everything at the same time. What is ill of doing business in that? That is, we are turning logic on its head. So we know all these solutions. Let's just implement. Now we are saying, don't bring your trucks to the port. Let's use technology to drive this process. Now, that was in previous time before, maybe a few months, like maybe 3 months ago or 2 months ago, now we have what is called Eto system. Eto system is supposed to be a technology that drives, that is like a call-up system. A call-up system where there will be truck holding bay, where you can park your trucks. Because a lot of people that come to Apa, they don't even have, I don't know how you're going to just go to the market, buy trucks, but you don't have where you can park your trucks. So the resultant effect is just what we are seeing now. So let's government force these holding bills. Now that we have holding bills in conjunction with MPA, they are working very hard now to have all those. If they allow these things to work, not like the scanning machine that is not working, then probably we are going to see the future that we want to see.
You said just now, if they allow, who are they in court?
Of course.
The municipalities.
Okay, you want to take a swipe? All right.
So,
You have
okay, you
another
go ahead.
question.
No, go ahead.
So for me, we've seen, I mean, Sifax is a very big logistics company.
You can say that again. Thank you very much.
Stop blushing. By the way, we're open to sponsorship, the Real Talk with Kike show, so we're expecting sponsorship from people like you. Anyway, moving forward, we've seen how last year or early this year, regulations from NIPOST on smaller logistics company led to protests by those that are, making use of the scooters, individuals that are setting up small logistics company, because NIPOST as a regulatory agency was coming hard on them on registration with, very humongous amounts. And we didn't see much coming from the stable of the big wigs like you, your companies. We didn't hear you cry out for these other smaller companies whom are all together looking up to bigger companies like yours.
Okay, so we should invest in them so that they can be competitors to us.
I'm not saying, I'm only asking for your opinion as to the levies and registration fees that have been levied on these smaller companies. Should they be stifled? Should they be killed?
It's not just them. When you look through the entire business landscape, we don't just single them out. I know the kind of bill they give to my wife in a small shop. Even the light doesn't come. I don't know whether you enjoy 24 hours of light, but what you pay. So it cuts across. For like us, it shouldn't be our business to look at, because even we are paying our money. We pay the kind of money that we pay. We want to see it on the road. We want to see it, in the infrastructure and all that. We are not seeing it. So I won't be here and condemn government.
Maybe I should ask, what are you guys, stakeholders in the logistics business, doing to ensure that smaller logistic companies are not stifled? That is the question I'd like to answer.
All this engagement that we're doing with the regulatory authorities is for the smaller ones that are coming. The engagement with Shipper Council, the engagement with MPA and all that we're doing every now and then. If the entire place is good for them to strive. In fact, Nigerians does not need anything from government. What Nigeria needs from government is just give us infrastructure. If you give us 10 hours, if you give us 24 hours flight, Nigerians are not lazy. You see people that want to strive. Just create an enabling environment for everybody. So if government does their own part, then everybody will, we will stop running abroad. So it still boils down on the stable of the federal government. They will continue to appeal.
All right, many thanks for that. Looking at the business model of logistics company like DHL, FedEx, UPS, they've been there for decades. How come this new logistics company were able to create a new profitable niche, in the business that gives giant companies like you some level of involvement to take ownership in the logistics company? What do you think that, what advice would you give to other logistics companies to do?
Well, it just needs to continue and be more innovative. Be more innovative. As the challenges are coming, then look for a way around it, to always survive. Like if you look at Sifax, you see that we have our presence in virtually all the chain in the logistics cycle. When you're talking about the ports, we are there. When you're talking about the transportation, so hardly our business is even going out. We are even involved in hospitality business now. So we are constantly innovating to make sure that we stay afloat. There are new technologies as they are coming. We are embracing them. Then we are being trained to use these technologies to advance our businesses so that there will be profitability and sustainability of the business. So my advice is continue to invest in all this technology that can assist your business and just make a cutting edge for yourself in the business circle.
Let's come to the common man. We're talking about the one they can relate with now, the logistics business. You know, we're talking about the dispatch riders, for instance. It's agreed that Nigerians are known to go for what others are doing without being knowledgeable about the business. So you see quite a number of them flying around because it's a thriving business in quotes. You know, question now is, when we're talking about challenges, is a challenge with getting reliable dispatch men the problem, or is it the customer that is the problem? And that's fair.
Not just that, your question has even, I have some answers from your question that Nigerians like to follow the trend. You know, if you trace this very well, you realize that it was when a ban on Okada, you know, happened in Lagos, that you now see an increase in the number of people that want to, because they don't want to dispose the bikes, and they are now, you know, creatively converting them to other business like dispatch riding and all that. If it's going to be our business going forward, the government needs to now come and regulate it. Regulate it. The kind of the personnel that are going to be riding the safety, consciousness, and training and all that, it's going to be an holistic package. If this is going to be, if in fact it's going to be our mode of delivery going forward, where I see it, but our road are not even designed to accommodate these people, then what is our response time to, you know, accidents and whatever that can come out of, you know, this kind of business? So a whole lot of things needs to be in place for it to strive.
So your industry must be involved. They must be involved so that you're working hand in hand with
That's
the
why we are
government.
buying more trucks, brand new ones.
All right, we'll go on a quick break and get a word from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Hi, many thanks for staying with us. I must say thank you so much for all your submission thus far on all the questions that we've asked you. But, you know, it's really edifying to have you touch on logistics, especially when it's peculiar to a country like Nigeria, because I know there's no ease of doing business here. But moving away from that, you know, there's a segment that we call trending stories, something that affects us all. So we are going to be trashing it together. So let me first of all share some of the first trending story that caught our attention, and that is Nnamdi Kanu, the self-acclaimed leader of IPOB and one of the major influence backing the Eastern Security Network, ESN, has been arrested from overseas and flown back into the country. I know that there are loads of controversies regarding where he was picked from. Some people are saying it's Ethiopia, people are saying it's Kenya, and all of that. But, you know, I must ask you first, I'm sure you followed this story. Sure. What's your submission thus far on his arrest?
Well, I don't know how he was arrested, but the news we have now is that he's been arrested. Even though he has a good, whether it's good or not, agenda for his people as he claimed. But I think approach, I don't like the approach.
Are you sure Sifax container did not import him to the...
We have a question how he was being cleared at the port. So, you might have, in my company I'm a leader. I have a lot of people that look up to me. Then there is a way I use the right vehicle to, you know, communicate to them, for them to believe and have a buy-in in what I do. So if you want to liberate your guys, I think there is a way. I don't know why they say Nigerians cannot engage in communication without fighting, historically. But I believe that if we sit at the round table and discuss the way you want to liberate your people, not that you tell them to go and, you know, take arms and all that, and you are somewhere calling the shots and enjoying yourself.
For me, I think, well, I'm neither here nor there. But the one thing I want to say is he actually jumped bail. So if he's here to answer to the charges that were leveled against him, why not? Why not? And besides, like you said, you cannot be out there, you can't be out there asking your people. I want to blame those listening to him. You are in your comfort zone and you are telling them to go ahead and kill themselves here over you. Whatever for. Ojukwu, the Biafran leader, I remember I saw a video, an old one, where he said there was no need any longer for another Biafran. So what are we talking about? At that time, Nnamdi Kanu was not
Did
born.
he say another Biafra or
Yes.
another Biafran war?
Another Biafran. That's what I listened to. Another war. Another war.
I would like to advise that the federal government, I think so many people have also been lending their voices to that same advice. The federal government should tread carefully, and also at some point get to a level where they have to sit down and, you know, ask these agitators what they really want. You know, at some point, because you just have to treat this case carefully. They have a strong following, and you don't want to, you know, toy with that. We don't want to see another case of a resurgence of Boko Haram somewhere else. So handle it carefully.
All right, many thanks for that. So I think my own submission is that in international law, it is meant to be an extradition process. However, such is not the case, and due process wasn't followed. There are different opinions on his arrest. If he was facing a trial in Nigeria, I think in 2015, how come he absconded and flew out of the country? You know, those are questions, you know, that keeps juggling in my head. There are many questions to ask. The British High Commission should be questions on how someone facing trial flew into their own country and has been aboard over the last 6 years without attempting or considering any form of legal extradition. So it's a diplomatic issue for me.
It is.
So, you know, another angle, however, is that going forward, the rule of law should be followed, and transparency should be used at full length for people to see how the law will prevail on the matter, because it is a fragile case and can cause further agitation or negative reaction in our country if I'm not careful, because it seems as if the country is tensed at the moment. You know, I don't know how to put this, but I think Nigeria should just be patient and let the law speak on this case. Again, no social media trial or no personal opinion should prevail, because the rule of law have to take place. But just like I said earlier during our segment on this day in history, if we are not careful, Nnamdi Kanu will come again and accuse the federal government of human rights and accuse the federal government of maltreating him. It is important for us to follow due process. The second trending story that caught our attention is that of the controversy between Nampan Group, that is the actress Iyabo Ojo, and Nkechi Blessing, causing division amongst the practitioners. You know, this story has been itching us since last week. But I must start with you. Masho, what's your take on it?
I'd like to start with our guest.
All right, our guest, what's your take on it?
Are you familiar with it?
Yes,
Of course.
yes.
Okay.
As a logistic practitioner, you should be alive to your community and society. I saw it on social media, and I saw, you know, different videos. The fact that you belong to a group that feel that we should settle our matter in-house, don't take it out and all that, does not justify the crime.
True.
So if the crime was actually committed, I think we should allow the man to prove his case. So he's not, they are not saying he's guilty. We are not saying do this to him, but let the law take its course. If he's guilty, then so be it. If he's not guilty, then I think the organization should reduce their influence on this and let it just go the way it's supposed to be done.
All right.
So
My opinion exactly.
Your opinion. Therefore, what's your
let
take?
the law take
What's
its
your take?
course.
Well, let the law take its course. And I think it's a bit petty on their part also, you know, to start, to begin to ask, you know, their artists amongst them. It doesn't make sense, because we're talking about a crime that was committed here. So what are we talking about? Nobody's thinking about the young child that was a victim in all of this. And now you're talking about, because these women have been vocal, so now you want to shut them up permanently.
Kike, you
possible?
see, Nollywood of recent has just been churning several controversies and all. And I can see the weight that it's throwing on this particular one unnecessarily. From last year, and then last week we talked about, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We talked about the singer. What's her name again? The singer who came out to say, I mean, Holy Spirit, minister to be not to minister. You know, we see all of this from the entertainment industry. And so much noise. We should just leave some of these things to the law.
All right. So my submission is that it is such a shame, and a big shame, that is coming from elders in the industry. First thing first, what is the crime of Nkechi Blessing and Iyabo Ojo? I'm asking in pain again. You know, we want to know the extent of which or crime that they have committed for them to have said that they are going to come against them. You know, it simply shows that the support, you know, I'm sorry to say this, like the elders, they support the crime and they've not taken any single action within their Tampa group to address the child molestation case till date. I ask, what if the child is in question is their child? How would they have reacted? You know, would they take it with levity, with all that is going on presently? You know, they chose to attack the ladies that stood up against child molestation, and that is Iyabo Ojo and Nkechi Blessing, and those who have given a voice to the innocent child in question. You know, and their messages is quite clear, and for me it's boldly written that they are against those who speak or who spoke against the crime, and they are behind the offender of the crime, because I really don't know what else to say to that rather than to have my own conclusions on it. And you know, in a nutshell, they should understand that there is nemesis, and we cannot make our society better with this frame of principles when our elders, so to speak, those who are old enough to birth these addresses, which is Iyabo Ojo and Nkechi Blessing, openly, you know, criticize them to say that, you know what, I'm going to come against you. You know, it's so disappointing for me. But
do you think Iyabo Ojo and Nkechi Blessing are doing the right thing on their own part, you know, or on you know, towing the path they are treading?
All right, so that's a very good question, and if I must ask you, I mean, answer you correctly, I feel that because of the way our legal system does not act swiftly, social media have now become the new court of law.
True.
So you realize that quite a number of people come on social media, bring their matters on social media before the government or the legal system jump on it. True. And whether we like it or not, these actresses have big platforms that are even bigger than most organizations today. They have many followers. The youth of today listen more to these people, see these people more or less like their role models. When they have challenges, they go to their DMs. How many followers does my Jero, so to speak, have? That you see quite a number of people come to me with their problems because they believe that, oh, Kike is connected to who and who that can help me to sort one problem or the other. So at the end of the day, if you ask me, it's not about how they went about it. It is about how they lent their voice, how the elders supposed to embrace them and say that, you know what, we are one, we must find a solution to this. Yes. Rather, I keep saying to people, I'm sorry to say this, we are in a country, until you are found guilty, do you understand? Or they are caught, do you understand? Yes. I take that back. Most men that are out there, again, I take that. Some men that are out there, some of them, do you understand, have raped innocent children. True. But because we live in a society where sentiment has become the priority of the day, we keep saying, you hear the likes of Iyarebo and Co. You know, these are people that my late grandmother looks, you know, watch their movies, honestly. And I'm so sad. Right. So before we wrap up, I think that's the last story for the day. Before we wrap up, I think it's important for us to, you know, do a shout out for one of our own, our in-house, one of the journalists, a brilliant journalist, Bridget, and mom, Mrs. Ifeanyi Chibufu. Please pronounce this word for me properly. I'm very bad.
Mrs. Ifeanyi Chibufu.
Chibufwe, you know, I want to say happy birthday. Many more years on earth. You know, we wish you longevity and soundness of health. We pray that God perfect all that concerns you. In the next 10 years, we will come again here to come and do a shout out.
Happy birthday, man.
Because you're going nowhere. And I must say that your daughter, Bridget, is so proud of you. Thank you so much for being there for her. And of course, Olorun Ajeke Jenwomo.
Amen.
All right.
I mean, before we go, I'd like
Happy birthday, ma'am.
I'd like to remind our viewers, see, we need sponsors on this show, okay? Don't just think we have it
House
all.
husband.
You saw me giving Kike this sweet. Someone dropped it here. So you can bring your products on this show. And you know, we would advertise
you. We're
you.
looking up to you.
Sifax, we're looking up to you.
Yes, we're looking
you
up
were
to you.
asking for a drink here.
My chairman is watching.
Okay. Please
hope to
take
hear from
note. We hope to hear from you.
All right, with that,
very
we've come
soon.
to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. It has been a good start of another business quarter, and we had an awesome time with our guest, Wale Adetayo. Thanks so much for being there. And of course, my co-host, superb, intelligent set of individuals. I'm very sure our listeners are enjoying you guys. Many thanks you all. And this is where we say bye. My name remains Kike. And you are?
See you on
Marshall
Tuesday.
and FO.